Now, you won't believe the things I've heard, especially on this platform. The things I've heard are shocking. It's unbelievable. The kind of stuff that people say about single moms. It's as if single moms are lepers. It's as if single moms don't deserve to breathe, don't deserve to be on this God's green earth. Now, to discuss the challenges that single moms face, I've come up with 2 umbrella challenges, and within those challenges, I'll also be discussing other challenges as well. So I've come up with 2 umbrella challenges that will cover most of other challenges as well. Now, before I get into these 2 umbrella challenges, let me just say that later on in this video, I will address a unique challenge that is faced by widows and widowers, because this is something that I had to deal with as somebody who was widowed. I had to face these challenges when it comes to parenting. So I will address that challenge using my own example. So stick around to hear what I have to say. Now then, the first challenge that you most likely face or encounter if you're a single mom, especially if you're an African single mom, is to do with narrative. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, but when it comes to the narrative, 2 things come into play. Number 1 is to do with self. The second one is to do with stigma. Now, when it comes to self, I'm talking about the thoughts that you entertain in your head as a single mom, the things that you tell yourself about yourself, the things that you believe. What sort of things are you telling yourself about your situation as a single mom? What kind of things are you entertaining in your head about yourself? It's about the things you're listening to, the things you're allowing into your life, things that are dragging you down in terms of your self-esteem and your confidence as a single mom. Those are the things that I'm talking about when I talk about the narrative when it comes to self. I say this because when my husband passed away and I found myself a single mom, I remember thinking, there must be something wrong with me. I must be cursed or something. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening to me. I remember thinking like that. And later on, when other things happened to me, I remember thinking the same way. I remember thinking, you know what? There must be something seriously wrong with me, or else I wouldn't be a single mom. There must be something wrong with me. I used to entertain such kind of thinking. And I was thinking, I am a failure. I am a complete and utter failure because I'm a single mom. I used to think like that, but thank God I no longer think like that. So what you want to do is you want to guard your thoughts. You want to get rid of those self-limiting beliefs. You really want to guard your thoughts and energy because society can be cruel sometimes. Now we're getting into the stigma part. Now, you won't believe the things I've heard, especially on this platform. The things I've heard are shocking. It's unbelievable. The kind of stuff that people say about single moms. It's as if single moms are lepers. It's as if single moms don't deserve to breathe, don't deserve to be on this God's green earth. I have heard so many things. This is why I say society can be cruel sometimes. It can try to convince you that simply because you're a single mom, you are less than. I'm not saying that's everyone. No, not everyone thinks like that. But in some parts of society, single moms are seen as less than and looked down upon. In some circles, they are seen, or people will try to convince you that just because you're a single mom or a single parent, there must be something wrong with you. You must have done something to find yourself in this situation. But what you've got to realize is that people are single parents for different reasons. Some people are single because they lost a spouse to death. Some people are single because of divorce. Some people are single because they can't find a suitable partner. Some people are single because it's their choice. A single woman can actually choose to adopt a child. These days, there's a whole lot of conversation when it comes to that. Now, I won't get into that in this video, but I'm just trying to emphasize that people are single parents out there for different reasons, all kinds of reasons, and there's nothing wrong with being a single parent. Some people would rather have someone to share that lifestyle with them, but if it's not possible, what can you do? What can you do? Should you stop yourself from breathing simply because you're a single parent? So this is why I talk about stigma when it comes to single parenthood. There's a lot of negativity out there. You're seen as less than for whatever reason, and it boggles my mind. Because if someone tells you that, oh, you are beneath me because you're a single mom, is that necessarily true? Is that the truth though? Let me know what you think in the comments when it comes to narrative. What do you think? The things you tell yourself, self, and the stigma part. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. So that's the first challenge, is to do with the narrative. Now, the second challenge that you face if you're a single mom is to do with the relationship with your children or your child if you've got one child. It's creating that bond with your kids or with your kid. If you're a single parent, that can be a challenge. And I'm going to explain why that is a challenge. It is a challenge for all parents, or for most parents. It is a challenge because as a parent, you want to develop a strong bond with your children. You want to have a close relationship with your kids. You want your kids to be able to come to you, confide in you. You want your kids to be your friends as well. Yes, there is the parent part where you need to be a parent, because there are certain times when you can't act as their friend. You have to be a parent. But I'm talking about a situation where you want to cultivate that bond, that trusting relationship, that unbreakable bond between you and your kids. It is a challenge if you're a single mom. If you're a single mom and you live abroad, you've left your country of origin to come to UK, US, Canada. You've left Zimbabwe, you've left Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and now you're living in a foreign land. Chances are you may not have a lot of relatives to support you. That is like in the majority of cases, because when you relocate, sometimes it's hard to bring your family with you. I mean, you know, us as Africans, we believe in the extended family. That's our lifestyle, that's our culture. But if you live abroad, let's say you're a widow and you live abroad, or you're divorced, you're a single mom, you live abroad and you're divorced, or you're just a single mom, full stop, you know, circumstances aside, chances are that you don't have relatives to support you. Or if you have relatives, chances are that those relatives are also busy. They've got their own lives. And maybe you have friends who are willing to help you. But again, chances are, with the lifestyle that we live here, with the kind of life that we live abroad here in the UK or other countries, because remember in my other videos, I talked about how we're always working. That is the life here, especially nowadays with the cost of living crisis. We are trying to make ends meet. So for a single mom, if you have kids or if you've got a child at home and you're trying to juggle work and being a parent, that becomes difficult. I remember in my case, when my child was still young, I used to take it to the childminder and I would spend long days at work. I used to feel so guilty about that because my child was spending so much time with the childminder. I had little time to spend with her, you know, just observing how she was growing, how she was doing throughout the day. I spent little time with her, and the time that I spent with her, I was tired. So you can imagine what I was missing. And I know for a fact there are some parents who miss their child's first word. They miss their child's first steps. They miss all those precious moments that once they pass, you cannot get them back. And this is sad. Unfortunately, it is a sad situation, but this is what happens. And if you're a single parent and you have to leave your child at the childminder, maybe you have to take your child to school first, and after that, the childminder collects your child and takes them home. And you go and get your child after 9 p.m., after 10 p.m., whatever time you collect your child. By then, you're tired, you're exhausted, because you spend the whole day at work, or you spend the whole day juggling other things. So by the time you collect your child, you're exhausted. And maybe your child is excited to see you. They want to tell you all about their day. They want to do things with you. But because you're tired, you're exhausted, you don't give them the attention that they need or deserve. So over time, if this continues, it creates a bit of space between you and your child. So this is why I say, when it comes to creating that bond with your kids, being a single parent can make it harder. It is hard if you're a single mom, if you're a single parent, because your kids need to feel your presence, not just physical presence. They need to feel that you are fully there. You are listening to them. You are paying attention. They need to know that you're all there in body, mind, and spirit. But because of all the juggling, because of all the shifts that we have to do, it makes it that much hard. It makes it next to impossible. But as a single mom, what I'll say is, it's important that when you find the time, when you're not working or when you're not rushing around or juggling those things I talked about, it's important to create the time to spend time with your kids and to be fully there, because your kids are going to grow up, they're going to fly the nest, and once that time passes, you cannot get it back. It's time that you would have lost. It's precious time that you'd have lost. And another thing as well to mention when it comes to that relationship with your kids is you not being there when they need you, or you not being able to spend as much time as you want with your kids, can leave you feeling guilty. I used to feel so guilty, I'm telling you. And it can even make you feel as if you're a failure as a parent. It makes you feel as if you've failed your children. Because as a parent, you need that quality time to spend with your kids, helping them with homework, asking them about school, asking them about their friends, what's happening in their lives, and so forth. You need the time, and you need the time to be quality time. But it's hard, or it's a challenge if you're a single parent. It is hard because you've got all this juggling to do. All these feelings of inadequacy, feeling like you're a failure, the guilt, and so forth can take an emotional toll on you. It can be draining, emotionally draining, especially if you don't have a strong support system. It can take a toll on you. This is why you need to have good friends. You need to be surrounded by people who are supportive, people who not only understand your situation or appreciate your situation, but people who are willing to help you out when you need the help, emotionally or otherwise. You need those people around you. Now, the flip side of that is that when your kids see you struggle, when your kids see you doing the best that you can, trying to make things work, when they see you juggle all these things, all these responsibilities, when they see you do that, it can actually create a strong bond. It creates a strong bond in that they start to appreciate you even more. They start to appreciate the effort that you put in trying to make things work. It makes them respect you even more. I'm saying this because of the conversations I have with my own children, the things that they say to me, how much they appreciate everything that I do for them. So that's why I say there's a flip side to that. Your kids can actually appreciate and respect you even more because of the effort that you put in as a single parent, because they are not naive. They understand that being a single parent, or they can see it rather, that being a single parent is not easy. They can see the effort or the amount of effort that it takes for you to make things happen in that home. Another situation that may arise if you're a single mom or if you're a single parent is that your kids can actually blame you for the absence of the other parent. Depending on your circumstances or your situation, your kids can actually turn against you. They may blame you for the absence of their dad or for the absence of their mom. These issues are sensitive, and if not handled carefully, you can actually ruin the relationship with your kids. This is why I'm saying handle with care. You just have to be careful. Now, this is where I tell you my story. For a long time, after my child's dad passed away, for a very long time, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to broach the subject. Yes, she knew that her dad had passed away, but because of the circumstances and because of what had happened after her dad passed away, all the issues that I had to deal with, what had happened to her and to me, I didn't know how to approach the issue. I didn't know what to say. I didn't have the right words to say what I wanted to say. So I had to take some time. I had to wait for the right time. I had to wait for the time when I thought, okay, now she's ready to hear what I have to say. Now she's ready to hear the truth. So I waited and gave myself time to reflect and to actually heal myself, because the things that had happened were not pleasant. I mean, I have done a video about it. You can watch my video about how I became a widow and what happened after that. And I've even written a book about it. I'll put the link in the description. Now, like I said, I didn't know how to approach the subject. Some people might say, maybe I didn't need to tell her what happened. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Was I wrong to tell my daughter what had happened? But personally, because of the circumstances and other things, I had to tell her. I chose to tell her. And of course, we've since healed. The relationships that were broken have since been repaired. So we're all good now. But at the time, I'm talking about at the time, before I told her, I had to take some time. Because in our culture as African people, yes, in as much as things happen in families, whatever happened to me happened, in as much as that is the case, the child that is my child, the child that I've raised as a single mom, still belongs to the other family. Culturally, according to the Zimbabwean culture, to the African culture, the child belongs to the husband. It's not my child. That is our culture. I mean, I admire our culture. I love our culture. And I think we have a rich culture as Zimbabweans, as Africans in general. And it's a shame that we're now losing our culture, because there are certain aspects, and those are most aspects of our culture, that are rich, that are good for us, that actually work in our favor, especially when it comes to the issue of the extended family. That concept, I like it myself. I like it personally. It's only when things go wrong, that's when we start to complain. But when it's done right, when things are done in the way they're originally intended, then things work in our favor. So this issue of raising a child or raising children after your husband passes, it can be a challenge, especially in our community, in our culture. How do you have a discussion with your children when it comes to the other family? What do you tell your children when they start asking questions? Because your children, mind you, your children are going to grow up. There will come a time when they'll start asking questions. There will come a time when they'll need certain things that perhaps only the other family can provide or can solve according to our culture. Culturally, there will come a time. So how do you handle things? What do you do? How do you talk to your kids? What do you say? How do you handle the situation? We know what our culture is like. We know what is expected. We know what our culture says when it comes to these issues. And we also know what happens to widows when they lose their husbands. When their husbands are gone, we know what happens to widows in Zimbabwe. So this is what I want us to talk about. If you've got something you want to share, please, the comment section is there. Feel free. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this issue, because this issue is quite sensitive. It can be tricky if you're a single parent and you have these things happen to you. So this is one challenge that you may face if you're a single mom. It happens to single dads as well, but especially according to our culture, it happens mostly. The challenge is more significant if you're a single mom, especially when it comes to the scenario I've just given you. Not every culture experiences this, but I know for a fact if you're from Zimbabwe like I am, these issues will arise. So what do you do when they arise? How do you handle that as a single mom? So this is where I'm coming from with these issues. So yeah, those are the two main challenges I wanted to share with you in this video. As I said, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, I hope you found this video useful. If you want more content like this and haven't subscribed, then consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to like this video. I'll see you next time. Take care.